princesses are an integral part of every girl's childhood. We watched all of their movies and wanted to be just like them. But because of their cartoony features, there was no way that we could ever come close. But what if they were reimagined and given a whole new look? Well, these artists have taken on drawing and illustrating the Disney princesses with a twist. You won't believe what number 7 on the list looks like. If this is your first time here, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more. Now, here are 15 Disney princesses reimagined by amazing artists. Jasmine. Jasmine was always one of our favorite Disney princesses. Why? Not only was she gorgeous, but she did not take any disrespect from anyone. She always stood up for herself, and that was an important trait to have as a princess. Jasmine was also extremely gorgeous. Her long, midnight black hair hung down to her legs and was the source of envy for girls around the world. Her brown almond eyes were also amazing to look at, but were also very kind and gentle. When artist Isabelle Staub decided to do her own illustration of Princess Jasmine, she kept many of the traits that we all know and love. If anything, she looks even more beautiful with Staub's portrayal. This photo causes the princess to look angelic. We love this picture. What do you think? Merida. In recent years, Disney princesses have begun to differ a bit from their past counterparts. Whereas the main focus on the princesses of the past was their beauty and prim and proper attitudes, now Disney has chosen to shake things up a bit. Merida of Disney's Brave was a prime example of this. Merida was the exact opposite of prime and proper. Her hair was always out of place, and she could definitely care less about looking nice. Because of this, she was one of the most relatable princesses. When Swedish artist Jurka Vince decided to take a stab at drawing the princess, he made sure to give her realistic features. He gave her red freckles across her face and really made her come to life. We can imagine this version of Merida walking around in the real world. Belle. In the classic film Beauty and the Beast, Belle was known for her amazing beauty. The townspeople commonly described her as a beauty with her head in the books. She was so good-looking, in fact, that the most eligible man in her town sought to make her his bride. Belle unfortunately wanted nothing to do with him and set her sights on the prickly beast. Artist Isabelle Staub captured Beauty's beauty perfectly in this illustration. Her eyes are so captivating, it's hard to look away. We have to wonder what the entire Beauty and the Beast cast would look like if it were recreated like this. How would the Beast look reimagined by Staub? What about the rest of the friendly residents of the castle? We think it would look absolutely magical. Rapunzel. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. We could not get enough of this princess in Disney's Tangled. The film was the perfect modern-day spin on the age-old tale, Rapunzel. She was known for her beautiful, long blonde locks, and they were so long that her stepmother was able to climb up her locks to reach her at the top of the tower. In order to escape her imprisonment, she eventually had to chop off her hair. We are happy that Jurka Vince's interpretation of the princess, he kept her hair long and beautiful. In Vince's customary fashion, he made her look a lot more real than any Disney princesses that we have ever seen. She looks like someone you could bump into at the post office. It's great to see princesses look more normal and not have this crazy, unattainable beauty. Anna. Anna was the star of Frozen. Even though her sister Elsa was the one with the powers, it was Anna who saved the day. After Elsa ran away and most of the kingdom began hunting her as if she were a witch, Anna was the only one that stayed true to her sister. She went on a long and dangerous journey to find Elsa and bring her back home. Because of that, it was clear to see that not only was she beautiful, but she also had a heart made of pure gold. We are happy to see artist Jurka Vince make her look so realistic and still show the kindness in her eyes. He pictures her wearing regional clothing and looking quite younger than the cartoon version. Either way, we are loving his reimagination of Anna. Ariel. Ariel was one of the original Disney princesses. The Little Mermaid was the first time Disney took us underwater to show us a whole new world. Ariel was one of King Triton's daughters. She had everything in the world offered to her except what she really wanted, which was to be part of the human world. She often would search for objects left by humans and play with them to determine what they were used for. Ariel's long red hair was her signature, that and her giant blue eyes. In artist Isabelle Staub's rendition of this underwater princess, she kept her long red hair as a staple. In fact, her hair looks even more voluminous in this picture than it did in the film. This picture is absolutely gorgeous. We are having a hard time looking away. Pocahontas. Pocahontas was the adventurous one in her tribe. She was always going off on her own and exploring the land around her. Nature was extremely important to her tribe. They lived off the land and treated it with respect. She often felt like she could hear the wind speaking to her and that the trees were giving her guidance. Many people in the tribe had black hair, but Pocahontas' hair stood out from the rest. It was long and black and flowed in the wind. Her strong jaw structure and almond eyes made her a complete beauty. When artist Isabelle Staub illustrated this wild princess, she made sure to highlight Pocahontas' natural beauty. Her drawing is amazing. It makes the chiefess look so kind and approachable. We would love to see John Smith, Pocahontas' love interest, drawn in this way too. Wouldn't you? Tiana. Tiana is one of the newest Disney princesses. She was added to the roster of Disney royalty a few years ago and has been stealing the hearts of fans everywhere ever since. All throughout The Princess and the Frog, she worked hard for everything that she received. She wanted to open a restaurant to honor her late father and cook the recipes that they created together. Unfortunately, along the way, she was accidentally turned into a frog. But even then, she was determined to find a way to reverse the spell and make it work. Isabelle Staub's picture of Tiana makes her look like a real person. Through this rendition, we are able to see what she would have looked like had we watched her story taking place in real life. We love it! Aurora! How many of you love sleep? We do too. In fact, we flat out cannot get enough of it. We would take 10 naps a day if school and other responsibilities did not get in the way. Well, we hope Aurora loved sleeping as well, because in her movie, Sleeping Beauty, she sure did a lot of it. She was cursed by an evil witch, and because of that curse, she was forced to sleep until she was kissed by her true love. Awful, right? Luckily, her true love did eventually come, and she was saved. Isabelle Staub did an amazing job of illustrating this Sleeping Beauty. This image glows and almost pops out of the computer screen at you. When we watched the film, we did not think that Aurora could get any more beautiful, but clearly we were mistaken. Snow White. Snow White was another Disney princess who was known for her beauty. Her beauty sparked loyalty in everyone in her kingdom. Unfortunately for her, this made her stepmother extremely angry. Her stepmother could not bear to be second place to anyone. Because of this, she put out a hit on Snow White's life. She ordered her to be hunted, causing Snow White to have to flee the castle. After she ran away, she began to live with 7 dwarfs and started to really like her life. That is, until her stepmother found her and convinced her to eat some poison fruit. The beauty that caused Snow White's mother to dislike her is fully captured in Andrew Tarasov's illustration. Though his picture is not traditionally beautiful, it shows the sinister nature of the poisoning and evil stepmother. Elsa. Disney's Frozen won the hearts of many as soon as it came into the theaters. The tale of 2 sisters working together to help each other was one that everyone could relate to. In the film, Elsa discovered that she had the ability to freeze anything that she wanted. It sounded great, but she couldn't exactly control it. So instead of risking putting anyone in danger, she hid her power and she stayed away from people. Over time, her power was finally revealed, and she had to learn to love herself and to let other people in. In Simona Bonafini's rendition of this frozen princess, she has imagined a world where Disney princesses have Instagram accounts. In the photo, she is making kissy faces with her sister Anna, and they look to be having a great time. Esmeralda. Esmeralda was not an ordinary Disney princess. In fact, she was not really royalty at all. In the film The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Quasimodo felt like he was unloved and no one cared for him. He lived up in the clock tower and watched life happening around him. He had no friends until he met Esmeralda. She was the beautiful gypsy who lived just outside the clock tower. They became fast friends. Eventually, Quasimodo fell in love with her, but his feelings were unrequited. In this photo by Anusha Syed, Esmeralda is reimagined as a real girl. She is wearing a normal sweatshirt and ballet flats. She looks like she could be heading off to class with her books in hand or even to the grocery store. This depiction makes her seem more like the girl next door than a dancing princess. Mulan. Mulan was one of the strongest Disney princesses around. She was raised to be married. No, seriously, that was the highest honor in her town. She was supposed to find a husband and have children, but instead, she decided to go to war to save her father and her community. Because of her bravery and fierceness, many people view her as one of the best Disney princesses. This drawing by Anusha Syed shows Mulan in a more realistic manner, wearing a shirt that reads, "Let's get down to business until we defeat the buns," is an ode to the movie Mulan. She appears to be of college age. What do you think this realistic version of Mulan is like? Do you think she is still fighting wars at school? Or do you think this version of Mulan is a little calmer? Cinderella. Cinderella was a Disney classic. Everyone knows the story of the glass slipper. She was a fairly rich little girl who had a father that loved her. Unfortunately, he married a woman who hated her. When her father died, Cinderella was left in the care of her evil stepmother. Her stepmother made her a servant and had her cook and clean up after her two equally evil stepsisters. Luckily, she had a fairy godmother there to help and make all her wishes come true. This realistic depiction of the princess by Yerka Vince takes the fairy tale aspect completely out of Cinderella's story. It makes her seem like a real girl and allows us to feel her pain even more. We also like the added pop of makeup that Cinderella is wearing here, as she never wore makeup in the film. Meg. Have you seen Hercules? The movie takes place in ancient Greece. The movie follows Hercules as he falls from grace and makes the journey back. As a baby, Hercules is thrown out of the realm of the gods and forced to grow up on Earth. Luckily, he still retains his godlike strength. Once he learns that he used to be a god, he sets out to find out how to become one again. While on his journey, he meets a beautiful, smart-mouthed girl named Meg. With her help, he makes the journey and succeeds in becoming a god again. Though Meg is just a helper in Hercules' story, she really steals the show. Her charisma and spunk make her a force to be reckoned with. DeviantArt user Loonchild in the Sky recreated Meg as a child. In the photo, we see the innocence she probably started out with. That's it for 15 Disney princesses reimagined by amazing artists. What did you think? Do you like these new versions? Or do you prefer the princesses in their original forms? Are there any princesses or artists that we left out? Let us know in the comments.